And it's become a lot easier to not only attack your enemy, but to score points for it. And that's where it becomes very dangerous. The whole idea of virtue signaling on both sides. A lot of people on the right will say that the left is the people that virtue signal. I've read the Daily Wire. They virtue signal just as much, if not more, in some respects. And I think that's the issue where, you know, in an ideal society, we would all do our part to take the level of discourse down a notch in terms of the rhetoric. We would make sure that we could interact with people as people. We could agree to disagree, which I think is a part of manliness, really just a part of humanity that is sorely lacking these days. The ability to agree to disagree. Um, and we could take a step back and we could all realize that if we do our part, it works better as a society or as a community, whether it's small scale or large scale. I think the issue, though, is tragedy of the commons.
Mhm. I think too a big problem is everyone's looking for notoriety because and I find
Mhm.
myself like this, it's like you have a great tweet, it goes viral, and you're like, oh man, people are actually paying attention to what I'm doing. And that felt really good to see that happen. And then uh it, instead of doing 150 years ago, there were a few people who could become famous. And that's just
Mhm.
because there was only so much news, only so much to go out there. And the ability to disperse news was much lower than it is today when a tweet can reach a million people easily. And that happens all the time. And so, even more, really, millions of people. And so, I think that looking for notoriety, looking for fame and all that goes with it is something that our culture is so focused on instead of doing the ordinary things. Just 150 years ago, everyone had to just go about their daily life pretty much knowing their family and friends and a few people in the town, right? It wasn't like you had 1,000 Facebook friends plus and you could kind of have all these big numbers. It's you I think that there's a good distinction that I've heard someone make between being a good man and a great man. Like your Abraham Lincolns, your Julius Caesars, even your Adolf Hitlers and your Napoleon Bonapartes are great men in the sense that they affect history